One of the most impactful experiences in my life was when my brother left for the Navy. Long before he actually left, he asked me how I felt about his decision to enlist. I couldn't give him an answer, not because I didn't have one, but because I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to face the idea that he could leave me so easily. I always thought he'd go to college, graduate, and still be around. I assumed we'd still see each other often and talk regularly. I took the time we had left for granted. My brother had never mentioned the military before. Everyone in our family expected him to go to college. That was the norm. Honestly, I blame his dream school for rejecting him. He says that's what pushed him towards the military, but I'm not sure I believe that. For months, I ignored his decision. I didn't want to believe it was real. He never told me his plans directly. I always heard them secondhand from my mom. That hurt. I started to resent him for not including me, for keeping me out of something so important. I pulled away from him emotionally. I avoided conversations, and I stopped trying to connect because I knew I'd hear everything later anyway, but never from him. After he swore in, it got even worse. I avoided family time altogether and isolated myself in my room. I was hurting, and I never told anyone. Even when I tried to join in, I still felt like I was in the dark, like I didn't belong in those moments, so I gave up. I missed out on so many conversations and memories because I was too bitter and too proud to say anything on how I really felt. In many ways, I still am. When he finally left for boot camp, all I could think about were the missed chances, the moments I let slip away. I regretted not speaking up, not spending time with him, and not trying harder. When he came home, I told myself I would make up for it. I had plans to reconnect, to rebuild what we lost, but it didn't happen. He spent most of his time focused on someone else and not the family who missed him. This time I wasn't angry, just disappointed in him and in myself. He gave his attention to someone outside of our family, and I backed down again, letting another chance pass me by. Here's the first interview.
Okay. So how do you typically react when someone close to you makes a life-altering decision that you weren't expecting?
You go through a lot of emotions. It kind of varies from sad, mad, angry, and you just have to work your way through each one of them.
Can you recall a specific time you ever felt this?
Probably when my son decided to join the Navy.
Have you ever ignored or avoided a situation because it was emotionally difficult to confront?
I have something very personal, and I just chose to ignore it instead of dealing with the situation, and it probably wasn't the best idea to do.
How did that choice affect you and those around you?
For myself, it changed my attitude, my way of life, and it affected everybody around me in one way or another.
Have you ever felt left out of a important decision within your family?
Yes, I have.
How did that affect your relationship with them?
It put a very big strain, and even to this day, we're still working through it.
What does an open communication in a family mean to you?
Being transparent, being willing to share things even if it hurts, but you willing to share the good times and the bad times.
And how do you handle it when someone keeps something from you?
I am the type that bottles it up until I can't handle it anymore, and then I kind of explode.
Is there a time in your life where you regret not saying something or taking action with someone close to you?
Yes.
What would you have done differently?
I would not have kept to myself when the situation happened. I should have said something then instead of waiting for it to be too late.
Do you believe it's too late to make up for lost time with someone?
Honestly, that kind of depends on the situation.
How come?
Sometimes people say too little, too late, but then you always have to be willing to try to see if it is too late, and hopefully it's not.
Have you ever held expectations for someone that you didn't meet?
I want to say no, but probably yes. But I can't expect something of someone if they're not willing to go to that level.
How did it affect your relationship, and how did you process your feelings?
I think it put a strain on our relationship. It didn't change my feelings towards them, but at the same time, I just thought they were capable of doing more.
And what's more difficult for you, disappointment in yourself or in someone else?
in myself.
How come?
I think because if you have disappointment in someone else, it's a matter of what they were willing to do, but disappointment in yourself, it's what you were willing or not willing to do and having to live with that decision.
When a relationship becomes strained due to distance, either emotional or physical, how do you typically approach rebuilding it?
I would say for myself is just putting myself out there, but also accepting the fact that I may be hurt in the end again, but unless I try, you never know what the outcome can be.
And looking back on a tough experience with a family member, what helped you gain perspective or find closure, if any at all?
I had to find that within myself, because I can't rely on somebody else to give me the justification on what happened. It's about personal belief and personal willpower.
And here's the second one. Hello, what is your name?
Hi, my name is Blanca Martinez Asher.
How do you react when someone close to you makes a life-altering decision that you were expecting?
I'm sure I act surprised. But at the same time, honor and try to be there if they need my help.
Can you recall a specific time this happened?
I can. Unfortunately, I cannot collaborate on that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Have you ever ignored or avoided a situation because it was emotionally difficult to confront?
I don't think so. I don't think I have.
How did that choice affect you? Or, did it really affect you or no?
It did not. No.
Okay. Have you ever felt left out of important decisions within your family?
Yes.
How did that affect your relationships with your loved one?
It affected severely because at one point, being one of the oldest siblings in the family, you think you have some type of recognition or respect from your other siblings.
Mhm.
And when things happen like that, you come to find out that they don't see it the same way.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel a little sad with a little bit of resentment, but I mean, it's not going to be the first time or the last, so.
What does open communication in a family mean to you, and how do you handle it when someone important keeps things from you?
How I handle it or how?
Yeah. How you handled it when someone kept important things from you?
Communication is very important to me, especially in my family. I have 2 boys, so I understand some things they're not going to come and tell me. They'll go to their dad. But my husband and I have a pretty good relationship where, you know, he comes and tells me, and he knows I'm going to get upset or, you know, not going to like that they come to me, but we talk it over, and he'll bring it up in front of my boys, and then we all talk about it.
Is there a time in your life where you regret not saying something or taking actions with someone close to you?
Not really. I don't believe so.
No? Okay. Do you believe it's ever too late to make up for lost time with someone? Yes or no?
It's ever too late? No.
No? Why?
Because time is one thing we don't have, so we can always make up something we regret not doing. It's better late than never.
Have you ever held expectations for someone that they didn't meet?
Yes.
How did you process the feelings, and how did it affect your relationship?
It didn't affect our relationship, but I do see that sometimes when we expect a certain amount of effort or input in certain things, you get to see where that person doesn't have the same expectations for themselves.
What's more difficult for you, disappointment in yourself or disappointment in someone else?
In myself.
Why?
Because I'm pretty hard on other people, so I expect to be better than that.
When a relationship becomes strained due to distance, either emotional or physical, how do you typically approach rebuilding it?
Try to be there for the person as much as I can. Try to show them in certain ways that, you know, that I care, or that they do mean something to me, especially family. And you just work at it if you want to save that relationship. If you don't, like, if you really try it, and the person doesn't see it that way, I mean, there's only a certain point that you go to save it, and you also have to be conscious enough to see that they don't want the same thing.
Looking back on a tough experience with a family member, what helped you gain perspective or find closure, if any at all?
Being civil.
Civil?
Being civil around them whenever we do have gatherings, or the same in the workplace, right? We all have to work together in one way or another, so just being nice to each other.
Okay, thank you for answering these
You're
questions.
welcome.
Both interviewees have expressed their experience with a family member and how they felt hurt on what they did. Much like my experience, they have shown how their experiences have helped them grow as a person and what they do to resolve issues that may arise similar to what has happened. This experience has shaped me into who I am today because I don't take my time with anybody for granted as I used to. And I also make sure that whenever I have time for someone, I do make time, or if I don't, then I do, because I have learned how important time and communication is. This experience has also helped me to strive and be a better person because it changed my mindset and how I viewed things, especially things concerning family members, and how I sometimes have to be the bigger person and to step up. It also pushed me to look at my grades and school life more academically and to strive for better things so that I can be the person that my brother could have been.